This episode of Dueling Ogres is brought to you by Dark Souls 2. Click on the link below or on Facebook for a 20% off promo code available through Steam. Prepare yourselves for a battle of epic proportions between two titans. Feast upon their voices and revel in their words. This is Dueling Ogres. Hello, Ogres, and welcome to episode 16. Thank you for joining us, as always, on this thunderous Wednesday afternoon, Earth Day, August 27th, 2014. I'm your host, Remington Hitchcock, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Brandon Full. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello, Remington.
How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Oh, I am just finer than a frog hair split four ways.
Is that a real saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely a real saying. Although frogs, as far as I know, don't have hairs.
Is that part of the joke, or is that just because frog is funny?
I think you would assume that a frog would, if they did have hairs, would be
very
quite fine. Yes.
Yeah, I guess that does make sense.
Yeah.
Because if you said finer than a dog hair, some dogs do have fine hair, but some have very thick, luscious manes.
Yes, very coarse and broad.
What's your favorite kind of dog?
My favorite kind of, something smart. I like retrievers, specifically golden ones. I am partial to corgis because they're fucking adorable.
Are corgis like the little...
You remember Cowboy Bebop?
Yeah, oh yeah.
The dog on that,
Okay.
Ein? Yes, Ein was a corgi.
I don't like little dogs. I mean, I can like a little dog.
Right.
But the little bug-eyed, just monster dogs.
Like pugs.
Oh, God.
My mom has 3 pugs, and...
She does?
Yeah. And she has 2 kind of flesh-colored ones, and then 1 black one. And that one hates me.
The black one does?
Yeah, the black one just...
I guess she's heard stories.
She won't come around me. I remember one day I went out and just chased her around the island in Mom and Dad's house. Because she just...
Yet you're perplexed as to why the dog hates you.
Well, I mean, when it comes to a point where I've tried to be friendly... It's just funnier to me to just chase them around and
just
bug
torment.
Just torment them, yes. It's like, fine, you don't like me, I'm going to give you a fucking reason not to like me.
Did you make that noise?
I might have. I don't know.
Do you remember we had a friend in high school whose parents had 2 pugs, and one of them was like the most dirty, disgusting, diseased pug?
No, I don't remember.
Ethan, his mom had 2 dogs, and we go over to his house, and one pug was normal, and the other pug, like, it had, like, gross... It was blind in one eye, and that eye always was, like, gross and green, and
vaguely.
It stunk a little bit. The dog just kind of stunk, and it would kind of just walk around like this disease-carrying monster.
I think I vaguely remember. Is that where...
They would occasionally have to pop its eye back in because its eyes were so big that its eye would just occasionally like bloop and pop out, and they'd have to slide it back in with their thumb.
No,
apparently that's something you have to do with pugs sometimes. They get so excited their fucking eyes pop out. That's not a dog that should exist.
No.
If a human walked around to the point where it's just like, oh, my eye fell out again, that human shouldn't be alive.
Oh no, my eye's gone again. He's just popped right out of my socket.
There it goes. Bloop. I don't know.
Pugs are notorious for having health problems. They have tons of health problems. Their tongues are too long for their heads because of poor breeding, I guess, and they have problems with choking and not being able to eat correctly or breathe correctly. Or
they're just like a beast that shouldn't exist.
Yeah, they're a sad little dog.
Mean, their existence is like, oh, my tongue's too big. Oh, my eye fell out. Oh, I can't breathe right.
And I don't understand
why
The thing that I really don't understand is why people are so enamored with them.
I mean, they can be adorable.
I love it. No, I don't find anything adorable about their scrunched up little faces and their freakish tongues and just...
2 pugs in a basket sharing a foot-long hot dog.
Maybe if they're babies.
Normal-sized pugs that you're done with?
No, absolutely not. I know when I will talk to Mom on the phone, and all I can hear in the background is...
Oh, yeah. The noise they make is disgusting, too.
So terrible.
What about 2 pugs balanced on top of each other water skiing? That's not adorable?
Yeah, but you can say that about any, like, little dog. Now take those pugs that are just like, oh, they're adorable because they're so damn ugly, and then take 2 corgis and do that.
Is that why pugs... Well, I think it's the juxtaposition of the fact that they're so kind of gross looking.
Yeah.
Mixed with the fact that they're doing cute stuff.
Right.
But yeah,
that pug sound should make for some really good listening.
Oh yeah, especially in your ear. I think that needs to be a ringtone.
Yeah, totally. We can totally do that. I'll just record me doing that.
Oh, someone's calling. What's great is the listeners aren't seeing like how your jowls were flapping in and out, like undulating as you were making that noise. Part of it was your cheeks hitting against the inside of your mouth as you made it, like.
See, I think you just spelling it out for them like that is it should be enough, I think.
Oh, I'm trying to paint a picture with words.
With words.
I'm trying to be a verbal Bob Ross.
And then we'll put a nice little tree over here. Right next to Rem's jowls as they slobber all over the place.
Uh-oh, tree's getting wet.
Oh no, it looks like there's gonna be a rainstorm.
Alright, so this week we're discussing what, your jowls?
Yes. This
is going to be an extra long episode. This is at least going to be 4 hours.
4 hours of...
Jowl talk.
Jowl talk. Jowl talk. Brought to you by Toyota. Not a sponsor.
That voice you're doing is like, I mean, this is totally off track now, but you remember Winamp?
Yeah.
It really kicks the llama's ass. that wave... Do you know
it still exists.
Why it was a llama? Was there a connection?
I have never looked up the connection to Winamp and llamas. I know that that's just been their mascot ever since the beginning.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know, but when you download Winamp for the first time, you still get that WAV file.
Is it the same? Have they like added more to it, like trumpets or anything?
No, I think it's the same. The same guy. So yeah, what do you have to talk about today? What do we want to start off with? We have a lot of just random news stories for you today. It's kind of one of those podcasts where we just talk about the random
One
things.
of those podcasts.
One of those podcasts where they speak upon things that have happened on the internet.
Yeah, we just, like you said, basic news stories.
Yep.
Do you want me to lead off with Magic?
Sure, go ahead.
All right, there was a huge announcement as far as Magic the Gathering goes this week. The lead designer on Magic, Mark Rosewater, I follow him on his blog, and for the past week he's been teasing that there's going to be this huge announcement everybody in the community is going to talk about.
Okay.
It's kind of hard to explain why this is such big news, but I'm going to attempt to, and I'm going to try to not, talk for 1,000 years on it. Okay. Basically, first off, the core sets.
Right.
They release one every year.
Okay, so for people who don't play Magic, there are core sets, and then there are, what do they call them, expansion sets, right?
Yeah.
And you usually have a core set that has 350 cards on average?
Somewhere in there, yeah.
Somewhere in there.
And then
the expansion sets have, 125 or something like that?
The first set in the expansion has like 260-ish.
Okay.
And then the middle one is normally the smaller one, 180 or so. And then the third one, a lot of times will be a big set, but sometimes it'll be a small set. It just depends. There's no hard and fast rule on
Okay,
this.
it used to be that it was very...
concrete?
Yeah.
Or like...
My brain...
They do it the exact same way?
Yeah.
Well, they've been in recent years because Magic's kind of had a resurgence. They've been trying a lot of different stuff. They're at a point now, what it feels like, where the Magic community that's been there forever, they're trying to keep them satisfied while also kind of, I hate to say dumbing down, but a little bit of dumbing down to get new people in too.
So it's very much like Blizzard going with World of Warcraft now. I mean, there's been a lot of design changes in the game itself to try and refresh this 10-year-old game and bring it back to the forefront a little bit. And Magic's been around for, 20 years or so?
94, I think it came out. 93, somewhere in
20
there.
years.
Yeah. I'm not specifically sure on the connection with the Blizzard stuff because I don't follow that, but I assume it's the same kind of basic premise. But basically, the way it works now, I tried to explain this to Bree last night to just kind of set myself up to see if I could explain it, and it is kind of hard to put into words. So if you hear me say this, and then we suddenly go on to the next topic, it's because we edited it out because I went way too long and couldn't explain it. Basically...
Do your best, buddy. I believe in you.
In Magic, there's what's called Standard, which is the main tournaments that people compete in now. There's 3 different kinds of Magic tournaments. There's Standard, which is sets from the last year, or the only sets you can use. Then there's Modern, which are sets from the last, I think, 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
And then Vintage, which is sets from the beginning of time. While Standard arguably is the most popular of the tournament Magic. A lot of people who play Magic would disagree because Modern has a huge following. There's also Commander, but the Commander's stupid, so I ignore that. Which again was probably going to give me a lot of shit because Commander is huge and coming up. But anyway, Standard will have 1 core set for the year and then 2 3-block sets. And that's what'll be legal for the year. And a block is 3 sets that all thematically fit into the same theme.
Right.
Well, the core set is released once a year, and will be called Magic 2014, Magic 2015, Magic 2016.
Right, yeah.
The core set prints cards that aren't as advanced as some of the stuff in the blocks. It's more for people getting into Magic. You've never played Magic before, you can pick up a core set, and the rules are very simple, and the things that aren't simple are clearly explained on the card.
Right.
Well, the core set they're getting rid of. Next year is the last year that they're doing a core set.
Oh, okay.
So there's speculation. And again, I hate talking about speculation, but a lot of people are talking about, and Wizards has also hinted that 2016, the last core set, is going to be a huge hurrah. I'm really hoping that they print a lot of really old stuff, kind of like a best of Magic throughout the years.
That would be awesome.
That would be really cool. Wizards recently trademarked the name Magic Origins.
Okay.
Some people think that that is what they're going to call the core set.
Yeah.
But again, they don't know because there's the Magic movie coming out.
Yeah.
Magic Origins could be the name of the movie. It could be a supplemental product they're doing. Whatever.
Or it could be just a rebranding of the actual core set to where instead of calling it core set and releasing a core set every year, they might just do an Origins set every year or maybe every 5 years or 3 years.
Yeah, but if they do, it won't be legal and standard because that's the thing. Like I said, the way it works is you'll release a block and it'll have 3 sets in the block. So right now in standard, what's legal is the Dragon's Maze block, which has Return to Ravnica, Gatecrash, and Dragon's Maze. That, plus the newer set, Theros, Born of the Gods, and Journey into Nyx. And Magic Core Set 2015. And also, because of like a weird overlap, Magic Core Set 2014 is also legal.
Okay.
So this is what's called super standard right now. For a few months, everything is legal from the past like year and a half.
Okay.
So there's 8 sets that are legal. In September 9th, I think, or end of September, the new Magic set, Khans of Tarkir, comes out. Once that comes out, all of Return to Ravnica block rotates out and it's no longer legal and standard. Plus Magic 2014. So when Khans of Tarkir comes out, new standard will be Theros, Born of the Gods, Journey into Nyx, Khans of Tarkir, which is just 1 set, and Magic 2015. So now you only have 5 sets legal and standard. And that's how it's been forever. And as the next set in the Khans of Tarkir block comes out, Theros stays legal until the set after Khans of Tarkir comes out.
Okay.
I know it seems a little confusing. It's kind of hard to explain
it's a little convoluted
without a drawing. Yeah. It's really not convoluted. You just basically have to think like of a worm going along, and as it gets longer in the front, the back kind of drops off.
Right.
Well, besides the core set being gone, instead of blocks having 3 sets in them, like with Theros, Born of the Gods, and Journey into Nyx, going forward, blocks are only going to have 2 sets in them.
Okay. So you have the main set and then
the
one
main
expansion.
set and then the 1 expansion for it. So in that case, they're releasing 2 a year instead of the 1 set a year they would release.
Okay.
So they're releasing 2 sets a year. And now, as they rotate out, basically more sets are going to be legal in standard, but the sets are going to be smaller.
Okay.
So instead of how I said when Khans of Tarkir comes in, Return to Ravnica, all 3 of it all drops off at once.
Yeah.
Now you've got two set blocks out. When the next one comes out, the earliest block doesn't drop off as a whole, just 1 set drops off at a time.
So you'll have the main set drop off, and the expansion will
still be there.
Tournament legal.
Yeah, so as new stuff comes out, 1 set at a time drops off instead of the sets in chunks.
Okay.
So what that does, what a lot of people are hoping it does, is it's going to beef up standard a little bit, because they're going to be, each set that comes out has mechanics like cards that work together that are individual to the set.
Right.
So potentially with 3 separate blocks out at the same time, you're going to have a lot more mechanics to choose from.
Okay.
Now you're actually going to have less cards than you did before, because core set's not there anymore.
Right.
So you're going to have less cards to choose from, but the idea is that the cards are going to be more diverse.
Okay.
So there's more of a chance of getting like a good deck that people haven't seen before with mechanics. Because right now in standard, there are basically 2 kinds of decks that just rule everything. And it's been that way for a while, and it's going to continue to be that way for at least a couple more months. Once Khans of Tarkir comes out, it may change, but for right now, straight black decks are just demolishing standard.
Right.
To the point where a lot of people are dropping out because they're so powerful, there's almost not a reason to play anything but straight black.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's pretty much it. The lead designer said that even though they're stopping the core set, they're still going to be releasing products to get new players into Magic.
Okay.
So what I think they're going to do is still release something like a core set, but just not call it a core set and not make it legal and standard.
Yeah, again, going back to possibly just doing an origin set and still keeping it out of the tournament rotation.
Yeah.
So that would be cool.
Yeah, so pretty big news as far as like, I know if you're listening and you don't play Magic, what I said probably sounded super convoluted. Even coming out of my mouth, it's hard to. I messed up a few times saying set instead of block.
Yeah.
But I did link to it on the Facebook page. You can read the article where the guy announced it. He explains it a little better and more succinctly than I did.
Right.
But yeah, it is. It's a pretty big deal. I'm excited about it though.
Yeah.
One of the things that's amazing is there was an overwhelmingly positive response online about it.
Well, that's good.
Which, in almost any situation with the internet especially, it's very rare that you get an overwhelmingly positive response to something.
Right, yeah.
So, it's one of those things that nobody has really complained about, but now that it's announced that they're changing it, everybody's like, oh yeah, that makes perfect sense.
That's good. That's good to hear. Sounds like Wizards is on the right track to revamping their card game.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's exciting if you play Magic. It's definitely new. I don't know if it's going to be better, but it's something new.
Yeah.
So, we'll see how it goes.
Well, in the World of Warcraft news, they released the date for the launch of Warlords, the newest expansion, which is going to move Mists of Pandaria into the ether, as it were.
Are you not going to be able to go to Pandapolis
anymore? You'll still be able to go to Pandapolis, but that's not what it's called.
It's just not going to be the newest one then.
Yeah, it's not going to be the newest. I think they increased the level cap to 100 in this expansion.
I mean, in every expansion they increase the level cap, right?
Yeah. They are also reworking, they're adding a whole new tier of the raids and changing up how they work. So I've talked about this a little bit before in past podcasts that we don't have actually up yet, but the new raids are going to be all flexible. So where you used to have to bring either 10 or 25 people to a raid, in this newest one you need at least 10, but if you go up from 10, say you have 18, you can still run the raid, and the damage and stuff will scale down to the appropriate number of people that you have.
Oh, okay.
So that's really cool.
So, as it worked before, you would either have to have 10 or 25.
Yeah.
There was no in between.
Right.
But now you have to at least have 10 up to 25, And if you, like you said, you only have 18, it's still going to work, and everything scales to how much damage you could do as 18 people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. I'm honestly surprised they didn't have that implemented already.
Well, Blizzard takes a really long time to get anything moving. They want to make sure that they have it done and have it done right. So they do a lot of internal testing. And
Well, unless Diablo is concerned.
well, yeah. On top of that, they are changing the format of it a little bit. It used to be LFR. Well, even before that, we didn't have LFR until Cataclysm, which is similar to the looking for dungeon mechanic, where it would pull people from all over the realms and pull them in to run that dungeon with you.
So you're talking like whenever I was playing WoW with you, that was whenever we would choose, okay, we want to go into a raid together. I'm going to be the healer. Right. I'll be flagged as a healer. And then we would sit for minutes sometimes as it kind of ticked through and grabbed people. Right. That's what you're referring to?
Yeah, so that was the looking for dungeon system. You never got up to a level that we could play raids. But there was also a similar system for raids. So now I think they are keeping LFR, but they're just calling it normal. And it will pull from everybody, all the realms. You can just queue for it, or you can bring your own people or what have you. Then they have heroic and mythic rating, and then the mythic rating is like the top tier stuff. They've also, for those of you who follow WoW, know about the Azeroth choppers, where they got the guys who did the motorcycle show.
Oh, American Choppers?
American Choppers. They got the son from that to design 2 different motorcycles for World of Warcraft. And they did
Really?
Yeah.
God.
And they did it as a really short little web show. And I think it was like 6 or 7 episodes. And then,
is it him real life designing a chopper?
Oh, yeah.
That they then implemented into the game?
Yes.
So he's real life, like, well, I'll put on a muffler here.
Yeah.
I've never seen the show. I assume that's how he talks.
Yeah, that's...
Put on a goddamn muffler now.
No, he doesn't talk like that. So, yes, they got them to design 2, one for the Horde and one for the Alliance, and then the community voted on which one that they wanted to go in-game. Well, being Blizzard, they want everybody to be happy, so they put both choppers in-game. They are now live on the beta servers for Warlords. The Horde won the vote, so the Horde chopper, as long as you logged in during a certain period of time, you will get the Horde chopper for free when Warlords launches out of the beta.
Okay.
On 11/13/2014 is the release date for Warlords. The Alliance chopper will still be available in game, but it is rumored to cost 100,000 gold, I think. Just some completely
Is that
ridiculous.
Like a ridiculous amount of gold?
Yeah,
in game?
for people who don't know how to work the auction house and things of that nature. Yeah.
I mean, do you have 100,000 gold?
No, I don't. And I even play the auction house every once in a while.
Is it attainable for you, or is it still like, shit, I could do this, but I'm going to have to sit down and play this hard to get close to that?
Yeah, there would be a lot of saving up involved for getting that chopper. So if that is and it may be tied to a faction, so like a lot of times if there are amounts that are tied to a specific faction, the price drops a little bit if you have reputation with that faction. So it may be a base cost of 100k, but if it's tied to the humans, say, if you've got your reputation up to Exalted with the humans,
then it might cost 50,000.
Yeah, it might. Well, probably not 50. Probably more like 70.
So when you say it's rumored to cost 100,000, that's just what people in the community think it's going to cost?
From data mining and stuff like that. They data mine the information from the beta servers, and that information gets put up through, say, like Wowhead and things of that nature. So,
does WoW have a system where you can spend money on gold? Spend real world money on gold?
No, they do not.
Through the game now.
No.
I know you can buy it, through eBay or whatever else bullshit, but...
Yeah, but that goes against their terms of service, and you should not buy gold from people, because a lot of that gold has been got from people hacking other people's accounts.
Ill-gotten gains.
Yes, from ill-gotten gains. So, yeah, not a good idea to buy gold, because I'm fairly certain that you can get your account banned for that shit. And to that end, I'll go ahead and lead into my DDoSing. So Blizzard and Sony and Xbox were all victims of DDoSing attacks this past week.
Do you know who by? Have they said?
There have been a couple of groups that have taken credit for it.
Are groups like this, who DDoS, are they like the modern real world supervillains in a way? I mean, the lower level anyway. I mean, I would say...
Like a mini-boss?
Yeah, I mean, you know, not getting into political stances and stuff, but there are definitely, even in America, but also a lot abroad, there are real-world supervillains.
Yeah.
People that do evil shit just for the sake of doing evil shit or to gain stuff themselves. There are definitely some chaotic evil leaders out there.
Yeah.
Would you say that these people are like minor level, like at least chaotic neutral?
Yeah, I would say so.
Because they're definitely not lawful. Because the way they're doing the attack is not lawful.
Yeah, and I mean, there's no point in it either.
Did the groups that did it say? Because I know, wasn't there... Remember the big Sony attack like a year or two ago where like millions, maybe not millions, but close to millions of people got their personal information stolen and it shut down the Sony network for like months?
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be a point other than to just piss people off. So
to show they can.
To show
also.
that they can, yeah. To show you could go as far as to say that it is to show the vulnerabilities in networks. But I mean, there's always going to be vulnerabilities in networks, and that doesn't mean that you need to exploit it just for the sake of exploiting it.
Well, and granted, I know absolutely nothing about this kind of stuff.
Right.
But I thought a DDoS attack wasn't showing a vulnerability in the server. I thought a DDoS attack was when you just spammed a server with visits. Just like overwhelmed it to the point where it shut down from too much information coming into it.
Yeah, which is basically it. And again, there's no real point to it.
Did they shut down the websites? Because I haven't noticed anything as far as Xbox Live goes. I haven't noticed any hiccups or problems at all.
From my understanding, with the DDoS attack, you get the ISP, the server's information, and you just spam that server to where. So I don't know a whole lot about the Sony and the Xbox, but I definitely experienced it firsthand playing World of Warcraft and Hearthstone.
With both. Just slow, or you just couldn't connect? Couldn't connect,
slow, getting disconnected during games and things of that nature. Yeah, it was a real pain in the ass. I think most of it happened Friday night, but I think it continued through Saturday. Or maybe it was Saturday continued through Sunday. Mm-hmm. I'm not 100% sure.
So these groups doing that, you would definitely give that a chaotic neutral?
Yeah.
I mean, there are some groups that I would say are chaotic good.
Right.
I don't know, like Anonymous as a whole.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I guess there would be an argument for chaotic good or chaotic neutral in what they do.
Yeah.
Chaotic good in definitely some of the stuff they've done, especially whenever there's injustices in small cities, you know, like the Steubenville rape case and with the Ferguson stuff going on now.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people may disagree with how they choose to do it as far as like we're releasing personal information and stuff, like what they did in the Ferguson case with the officer who shot, is it Michael Brown? Is his name Michael? I think it's Michael.
I think so.
The officer that shot him, the Ferguson Police Department refused to say who it was.
Yeah.
In protection of him.
Right.
And Anonymous kept saying, release it or we're going to release the information. The cops, I think, took a week and a half to release the officer's name who did it. Anonymous released it within, I think, 2 or 3 days on their Twitter. And I'm pretty sure they ended up being wrong. So that's, I think, where you can have the argument because that has happened before. Like the Oklahoma bombing. Was it Oklahoma where there was the...
Oklahoma City bombing?
Not the Oklahoma City bombing. The bombing at the foot race. Was that Chicago?
I don't remember. See, I avoid the news, especially like world and country news, because I just... There is so much spin and there is so much just shitty information. Like, they bombard you with shit information.
Yeah, well, that's what gets clicks. That's what gets listen is the kind of fear-mongering stuff. But you gotta pay attention to what's going on around you a little bit.
Nope. I don't care. If it doesn't affect me directly, and sometimes even if it does, I'm going to continue to just live my life in my meager little means and pretend that the rest of the world doesn't suck so bad.
Well, I mean, I guess that's one way to do it, but I don't know. I feel like you gotta at least know what's going on around you some. I don't know. I understand the view to do that. I choose not to.
So
yeah, fair enough. And I mean, I'm not going to specifically comment on the Ferguson shooting and that kind of stuff. I think that really, at least starting out, we should really leave our politics out of it.
yeah,
I think if you've listened to more than one episode of this show, you probably know where I stand on this stuff already.
Right.
So it doesn't really need to be said. But yeah, it was Chicago.
okay.
Where there was the race. You didn't fucking hear about this, dude?
No, I mean, I heard
like
about
a year
it.
ago.
I
It killed like
yeah.
a couple people and dozens were injured and stuff.
Yeah,
Well, Anonymous
I remember this story.
found a picture of who they said the bomber was and released it and plastered it everywhere. And this person was getting like attacked online and people were taking pictures of him in real life. And it ended up it wasn't him.
Yeah,
And they found who the real bomber was, or bombers. I think there were two of them.
yeah,
So that kind of stuff, you know, again, we talked about it in an earlier podcast, how sometimes the eyes of the internet, you know, just pass over you and sometimes they focus on you for just a second and it's fucking terrifying.
yeah. And that's just it. I mean, especially with groups like Anonymous, where if you don't have your information right and you are not 100% sure in that, then you shouldn't release it. Just because you think that this is how it is may not be how it is.
Yeah, well,
And you ruin somebody's life doing shit like that. How is that even remotely fair? You know, I mean, they're fighting for fairness and transparency and things of that nature, but if you put out misinformation because you were not 100% sure and ruin somebody's life for a short amount of time, I mean, you're no better than the people who are just holding off on releasing the information because they want to make sure that they get it right.
well, in the Ferguson case, for example, the reason they didn't release the officer's name was because they said it was for protection.
Yes.
To protect him. And I can understand that. I can understand their line of thinking. But at the same time, I guess this is all I'll say on it because I really don't want to get into it. But I feel like the police, it's become a little scary. Not around here so much. But you hear these news stories almost more and more where I feel like that officer should be protected because this is a country where you're innocent until proven guilty. There was no doubt that he shot this guy. That was never in question.
Right.
Putting out a witch hunt for him isn't the way to do it. That's not how America works. And you can go into how the justice system is flawed, and they're going to find the defense for him, if it does go to trial, is going to find the perfect jury to defend him. You know, I was in the military. My dad was a cop. I'm on the jury. You know, they're going to do everything in their power. So you can debate that our justice system is flawed in that way, and in a lot of ways it is.
Yeah.
But when it comes down to it, the police are here to protect us.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that it should be like the police should have just shoved that guy out there and said, here you go.
Yeah.
But
feed them to the wolves.
They're going to protect their own, just like with the military. You're going to protect your own. And that's understandable. That's human nature. You protect who's in your pack or your group.
Yeah.
But I don't know. In that way, I think it's forgotten sometimes. And not all police officers, but I think in some cases, it's forgotten that the police are here to protect us. That's their job. That's what they do.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I agree with that. So yeah, going back to the DDoSing and how I don't see the point in doing these.
Like you said, I think it's just to show they can.
Yeah.
I mean, when you have multiple groups claiming credit for it, I think that that's just, you know, a wrestling of power to say, oh, we want our little, 100-person group or 50-person group. We're going to take credit for it because we want people to know our name.
Right, yeah. So Lizard Squad is the one who claimed it the most.
Lizard Squad?
Lizard Squad.
It claimed it the most?
Yeah, it seems that way.
They pointed the hardest.
And one of their tweets was, which this is just shitty of them, complete and utter shittiness. Today we planted the ISIS flag on @Sony servers. #ISIS, #jihad. That's just, if you, you don't want to associate yourself with that group. That's fucking...
Well, you know what that
stupid.
reeks of. And talking about this stuff, I should be worried to be talking about this, to be talking badly about a group like that. But at the same time, like, one, we're not nearly big enough to even hit their radar.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Anyway, there's no reason to live your life in fear of stuff.
Right.
That to me just reeks of, like, whether it's true or not, like a 15 to like mid early 20s weirdo kid who just says offensive shit to say offensive shit.
Right,
you know,
exactly.
just like ISIS, jihad, DDoS, you know, sitting behind your computer, tippity tap, eating a piece of pizza that you have taped to your monitor so you don't have to move your fingers off of it.
Right.
You know, and it might not be the case. That's clearly posted just for shock value.
Exactly.
And they know something like that is offensive, so that's why they're doing it. And
Right.
it's just stupid. It's just, you don't look threatening. You don't look cool.
You just look
like a douche. You look like, you know, you're wearing a metal necklace and a Slipknot shirt.
Yeah.
You know, that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Black nail polish and shut up, Mom, I'm on the computer. That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah. So to continue along with that, Sony's John Smedley was perhaps the most affected by this. There was rumored, I don't know if there was ever actually any evidence to back this up, but he was getting on a private plane and there was a bomb threat against it, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
So all he had to say on the matter was, yes, my plane was diverted. I'm not going to discuss more than that. Justice will find these guys. And it was later suggested that it wasn't necessarily the DDoSers who were toting that information, even though they might have been trying to take credit for it, but it was just a separate incident.
That just happened to...
Yeah, to fall on the same line. So, but yeah, it affected several different things. And to go into... DDoSing, for those of you who don't know, is short for Distributed Denial of Service. And it's a type of DOS attack where multiple comprised systems, which are usually infected with a Trojan, are used to target a single system, causing a denial of service attack. Victims of a DDoS attack consist of both the end-targeted system and all systems maliciously used and controlled by the hacker to distribute the attack. In a DDoS attack, the incoming traffic flooding the victim originates from many different sources, potentially hundreds or thousands. This effectively makes it impossible to stop the attack simply by blocking a single IP address. Plus, it's very difficult to distinguish legitimate user traffic from attacker traffic when spread across so many points of origin. So it's coming from multiple systems targeting a single IP address.
So it's like hitting the victim's computer with a big stick.
Yeah.
Or rather, hundreds to thousands of little sticks.
Billions of little sticks, yes.
Yeah.
Like, it's like... You could equate it to a rig, a trucker's rig, who is delivering toothpicks, and that toothpick truck crashes and spills the toothpicks over a single car, and the single weight of all the toothpicks crushes that car and kills the person inside.
I mean, how many toothpicks would you have to crush a car?
Well, obviously, you would need at least a truck full.
See, I would think that the toothpicks, the weight would be distributed so evenly that it wouldn't crush a car. If you were to just dump out...
Yeah, but I mean, theoretically
a million pounds of toothpicks on a car, if they were spread out over the whole car, I still don't think it would crush it.
It was a theoretical argument to try and put it into perspective, you
I know,
shithead.
I'm just... We just want to bring our audience the facts. The facts that we clearly haven't looked up all of the way. I love how we get into some of these topics and we're like, when was that bombing? Chicago? Or I don't know. What was that? I don't know. It's something or other. I don't know.
Yeah, well, when we're trying to make comparisons between things that we didn't look up, it makes it a little more difficult.
Yeah. I don't have anything else.
God damn it, Brandon.
I don't have anything else news-wise.
Okay.
I just wanted to bring up a site that I found last night, actually. And this isn't any sort of ad or anything. This is just something I found interesting. I grew up on Sierra Games as a kid. Sierra Online.
Okay.
Which wasn't online at the time. It was just called Sierra Online. One of my favorite companies, and still is probably one of my favorite companies. They made like the King's Quest games, Quest for Glory, Police Quest, Space Quest, a lot of quests.
Yeah, there are a lot of quests out there.
I would love to have an interview with Roberta Williams, who was the writer for King's Quest and a lot of those games, but that's neither here nor there. Anyway, the website I found is called myabandonware.com.
Okay.
And it has, looking at the site now, more than 4,000 old games to download for free.
Sweet.
What abandonware is a game comes out, then either the game is so old that the company doesn't support it at all anymore, or a lot of times I was reading about it, what'll happen is there's like an early 90s company that releases a game. That company gets bought out, and then that company that buys them out gets bought out, like a fish eating a smaller fish, eating a smaller fish,
right,
going up the line. And it'll get to a point where some of these games, the trademark or the copyright is so it almost got left out. Like, oh, when we bought this company, we forgot this trademark. So now that trademark still exists, but the company it's trademarked to doesn't exist anymore.
Right.
So this piece of software or whatever basically sits in its own little bubble floating. It's still copywritten, but nobody owns it anymore to be able to sue.
Yeah.
So a lot of abandonware, stuff like that. Stuff that either the copyright, nobody knows who owns it, or stuff that's still copywritten that the company owns, but it's just so old that they don't bother to go after copyright infringement anymore.
Okay.
So this site has, like I said, 4,000 some old games from like late 80s up to early 2000s kind of stuff. Most of them you have to run through DOSBox, which is a DOS simulator.
Okay.
But you can also download that from the site.
Right.
And I would just recommend checking it out. If you like old games, they have a lot of the King's Quests on there, which were my favorite series out of the Sierra ones. A lot of old Dungeons and Dragons games. I was telling you I've been playing Dark Sun. Yeah. Which was an old, based on 2nd edition rules, D&D game. Okay. That's a blast. That's cool. So that's basically it. I'm thinking at some point we've been kind of tossing it around. I guess we can mention it for a second. Potentially going to be starting a YouTube show soon. We already have a YouTube channel. The only thing up on it, as far as I know, is the video of us eating anchovies a few weeks ago. Yeah. You can search Dueling Ogres on YouTube, and it's the first thing that pops up. Right. We're wanting to develop more with our YouTube channel. We're going to start basically it's like a mix of a Let's Play and a podcast on there. We're going to be playing some old Super Nintendo, Sega games, big screen streaming the game, small screen, us in the corner. You know, if you've seen Let's Play, you know how it is.
Picture in picture is
what it's called. Oh, is that what it's called? Yeah. There's a big picture and then a little picture.
Inside
I don't know. Somebody should really think of a word for that. Yeah. PIP. Pip. It's going to be myself and Cody, who was our guest last week, playing. Yep. Remington, you will also. Yep. I don't know if it's going to be all three of us or two rotating or a mixture of all three. Yeah. But anyway, we're going to try to get that up hopefully within the next 2 weeks. Yeah. I think it'll be fun to watch. We're going to try to split them into bite-sized portions or whatever.
Yeah, we'll probably do a nice long show and then split it into quarters.
Yeah, but I'm thinking about either doing it through that or a separate thing on our channel, also playing some of these abandonware games. To show, because there's some really good games, older games, you know. I downloaded The Incredible Machine. Did you ever play that as a kid?
Oh, that sounds so familiar.
It's one of my favorite puzzle games.
I'm sure
you would have cogs and it was like building a Rube Goldberg machine and how it would work. Yeah. And there would be challenges, you know, like you'd have a bowling ball on a conveyor belt and it would say, get the bowling ball into the basket. Yeah, and you'd have like a hamster cage and you'd have to drop something on it and the hamster would run and you'd connect a pulley to the conveyor belt. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah, I totally played that.
Yeah, that's awesome. On the abandonware site.
That's cool.
I actually have it saved. Whenever I have my daughter next, I'm going to sit her down and...
Nice.
I'm going to give it 20 minutes and say, play this. If you don't like it, play it for 20 minutes. Because it's good brain teasers. I went through and I did 40 of them, but I was getting to the end. I did the first 30, I think. And towards the end, I was like, God, these are fucking hard. I would have to delete stuff and try multiple times. Yeah. I finally finished the 30th one, all right, yeah. And then it's congratulations, you finished the tutorial. Now start easy. So this was less than easy starting out, but It's a lot of fun. And there's a freeform mode you can build with and whatnot. So that's cool. The site was myabandonware.com. I definitely recommend checking it out if you like old games. And getting the DOS simulator was super easy. I mean, as computers get more robust, it's harder for me to figure out okay, what do I have to do? I have to flash this ISO and blah blah blah, other words I don't understand. But this was just install, download the game, import it into DOSBox, play. Just nice. 3 steps, super easy. So
that's awesome. Yeah. That's very good. Yeah. The other story that we have to share, we're going to do just a little bit of a short show, but we're coming up on an hour or so. One of the bigger stories of this past week was Amazon buying Twitch.tv for $970 million.
This is a pretty big story, right?
This is a very big thing. I mean, a lot of people make their money on Twitch.tv.
How do you make money from Twitch?
Usually through advertising.
So you have, I know anytime I stream, I've got 5,000 people that watch. throw in an ad.
Throw in
you
an
get
ad.
paid per view,
They also-
extra per click kind of thing.
They also introduced a subscription fee, so you can subscribe to particular channels in order to support them, or you can just straight up donate to channels as well.
Okay.
So I think subscriptions to a channel run $4.99. I don't know what the length of the subscription is. You know, it could be a month, it could be 6. I don't know. I haven't looked that up. But yeah, this is some really big news. And it's going to be interesting to see how Amazon is going to introduce, you know, their brand into. Because Amazon covers, you know, sells and covers just everything.
Yeah.
So we could see a lot more ad revenue, perhaps, from them. And then those ads getting directed to Amazon for buying whatever you're going to buy from there.
I think it would be neat to see, and I don't think this would be out of the realm of possibility at all, to see a Twitch streamer now through Amazon who is able to, like, say you're streaming and you're playing a Steam game you've downloaded or something in the weird alternate universe where you play anything that's not World of Warcraft or Hearthstone. You're playing a Steam game.
Yeah.
And as you play, you say, well, I guess it wouldn't work with Steam. You're playing a Xbox game.
Yeah.
And as you're playing it, you say, oh yeah, guys, if you want to check out this game, you can get it right through here. And right up on your channel, just bloop and pop up a little button that the person watching can click on, hits them right to Amazon. They put in your Twitch code. They get, you know, a 5% or whatever discount. They can get the game right then or order it or whatever. You get a kickback from it.
Yeah.
I could see that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because
that would be super simple too.
I think the less obtrusive the advertising is, the better it'll go over.
Right.
Because I don't know what people's reaction to this specifically have been. I don't really use Twitch. I've watched a couple channels, but I don't really mess with it at all.
Right.
I know you stream sometimes.
Yeah.
Do you know, has the response been positive or negative or really?
I haven't seen a whole lot of the response yet, but I'm hoping that we can line something up to get some opinion on that here in the near future. So.
Yeah.
To that end, the CEO of Twitch.tv, Emmett Shear, sent an email out to the Twitch community saying, it's almost unbelievable that slightly more than 3 years ago, Twitch didn't exist. The moment we launched, we knew we had stumbled across something special. But what followed surprised us as much as anyone else, and the impact it's had on both the community and us has been truly profound. Your talent, your passion, your dedication to gaming, your memes, your brilliance, these have made Twitch what it is today. Every day we strive to live up to the standards set by you, the community. We want to create the very best place to share your gaming and life online, and that mission continues to guide us. He goes on, I'm pleased to announce we've been acquired by Amazon. We chose Amazon because they believe in our community, they share our values and long-term vision, and they want to help us get there faster.
And they offered us $970 million.
In cash.
Yeah. They just backed up a big toothpick truck full of dollar bills and dumped it on their car, crushed it.
Right. We're keeping most everything the same, our office, our employees, our brand, and most importantly, our independence. But with Amazon's support, we'll have the resources to bring you an even better Twitch. It is to hope that Amazon takes a very backseat and is more like a producer of a movie, where they just put out funds to help make the UI and the actual guts of Twitch better.
And just say,
And
you know,
responsive.
we're going to help it work better, but you just keep doing what you're doing. You clearly have something that works.
Yeah.
Keep at it.
Right.
Whether that'll actually happen is a different story, because typically that's not what happens.
Exactly. But it was rumored that, you know, Twitch, I think it was known to people who follow this sort of information that Twitch was looking for, or there was talks of Twitch being bought by somebody. Mm-hmm. But it was initially rumored that it was going to be Google.
Yeah, I'd heard that.
To purchase Twitch. And then out of nowhere we found out, nope, it's Amazon.
Part of what the speculation was is, I think about a month ago, Twitch started editing videos that had copywritten music in it. So what they would do is they would search Twitch streams, and they had like an algorithm or something, a program that did it, that if it found copywritten music, it would silence the entire video.
Right.
But what it was doing is it was silencing it in 30-minute chunks.
Okay.
So say you're streaming and you have your stream up or whatever to view, and you have it saved where somebody can go and watch it.
Yeah.
You have the first 10 seconds of Baby Got Back as the opening to your Twitch show.
Yeah.
They would hear that and silence the first 30 minutes of your stream with
Right.
nothing you could do about it.
Yeah.
the problem came in, besides the fact that they were suddenly changing this where they didn't care before, is people were getting silenced for, like, their channels of, like, somebody showing you how to do something on the computer, or the ones that I'd seen where people would open old packs of Magic cards and go through, and they would just have background music playing.
Yeah.
Those were getting silenced. The ones that got me the most, and this kind of speaks to, hopefully they were doing this to try to show they could before they got bought out, so they weren't selling something to, you know, what we found out was Amazon, without saying, like, yep, we've got a lot of copyright problems on here, good luck.
Yeah.
They were silencing videos of people doing Let's Plays of games.
Yeah.
Because the copywritten music was the music that played in the game.
Right.
So somebody playing, for example, Mario.
Yeah.
Mario music is copywritten, so boom, silence the entire video.
Yeah. And
because the music is playing from the fucking game they're playing.
Yeah. And there are a lot of streamers who, you know, might take a break during their show and just put up, you know, the chat box and what have you, and have just music playing in the background while they take their break.
Yeah, it's such
those professional gamers, so
it's such a fine line to really know where to fall on, because everything about me wants to say, like, really, are you really fucking dumping on that, or jumping on the music playing in the game?
Yeah.
Hopefully they don't keep that sort of robot algorithm or whatever, you know, the beep boop robot that's going through with a stern look on his metal face or whatever. But at the same time, it's like, it is copyrighted music that people are playing on their channel. It's just, I don't agree with that specifically, but at the same time, it's because, you know, I have that viewpoint, probably not the greatest viewpoint of, like, man, fuck the companies, you know?
Right.
But it really is, it's theirs, you know?
I see it tantamount to, say, you're driving in your car and you have your windows down and you're playing music, and then an executive rolls up beside of you and says, hey, you can't be playing that music to where everybody can hear it, even though you paid for it, because it's copywritten.
Oh, and they can't argue that.
Yeah.
They've tried to argue that in certain situations, like whenever they were trying to make an example with, like, the SOPA stuff a year or so ago.
Yeah.
Part of what they were arguing was technically you can't own a CD and play it on a stereo at a party.
Yeah.
Without each person buying it, technically.
Yeah.
So, it's just... It's
a fine line, and it's a stupid line.
Yeah, because in a way, like, I would be irritated if for some reason somebody liked our podcast and cut it in without giving us credit, or had it playing in the back. Although, I don't know, if somebody was listening to us in the background of a Twitch stream while they did something, I wouldn't mind that at all.
No.
Granted, we're not making money off of this.
Right.
And we're not a corporation.
Yeah.
So,
and even if we were, I mean, fuck it. I don't care. I mean,
yeah, I would like to think I wouldn't feel the same way if for some strange reason we suddenly became a brand where we were making, you know, $100,000 a year from this.
Yeah.
Maybe we would change our tune. I don't know. I would like to think I wouldn't.
Yeah.
But who knows?
Yeah.
You know, until you're faced with it.
And that's one of the reasons why our beginning music, and whenever I do work some music in, I try to at least put some sort of link, like our opening music is under a Creative Commons license. So that's why I can use it. And if anybody raises a stink, I can be like, hey, here, it's under a Creative Commons license. I have it linked appropriately to the person's site who provided it, and you can check the license there. So there's no problem here. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, and it works a lot better than your original choice, because you originally wanted to use Backstreetsback as our opening theme, but it was just too tied up in legalities to really get it to work.
Yeah, I was very disappointed that didn't work out. It really was.
James Backstreet, the lead singer.
What is his name?
I don't know.
Backstreetsback, all right. See, now we can get sued for using that.
No, I think you can do 3 seconds.
I think that is a
myth?
urban legend. Yeah.
No, you can't even sing that.
I don't think so.
Can I say Backstreet's back? All right.
Yes, you can.
But
you can
singing
say
it,
but singing it, you can't.
Could I could read the lyrics. I could read from beginning to end the lyrics.
If you were to read the entire lyrics of, well, I don't know about the lyrics.
Without music playing behind it.
Maybe. I don't know. I do not know on that.
Well, we're going to have to look into it, because that was my idea for next week's show.
Okay.
Was just reading Backstreet Boys lyrics for what's our longest episode yet. Dueling boy bands.
That sounds good. Well, do we have anything else?
No, I was going to cover the D&D movie, but I can talk about it next week.
All right, then. So I guess that will wrap up the show this week. Next week, if everything lines up correctly, we are going to have an interview.
It's exciting. It's our first real interview.
Yeah.
Real grown-up, big boy interview.
Yeah. It should be a train wreck like everything else we do.
Yeah. Just call us the Hindenburg of podcasts.
If everything lines up correctly, we will be interviewing James Patrick, who is a writer, and I believe he is a freelance writer. He didn't message me back to confirm that, but he's a freelance writer who has worked for DC Comics and has written for Green Lantern, Star Trek, and Harley Quinn, and several others. So he has a long list of things that he's written.
Yeah, it should be exciting to talk to.
And for shoutouts this week, we have...
you gotta pull up the shoutout list.
Should I pull that up for you so you can read it?
Shoutouts this week, we have... I'm doing last names, because fuck it.
Okay.
Well, I think it's more appropriate to give first and last names. I don't think anybody's gonna care.
Okay.
And, these people, we don't know all of them on a first name basis to just be like, hey, Jeremy, thanks.
Yeah. Right.
For shoutouts this week, these are people that commented on our Facebook, liked us, asked us questions, etc., etc. Jeremy Martin, Mariah Yencha, Bree Blackwell, my girlfriend.
And we also have my mom, Erin Milam.
Aww.
Who has been very loving and supportive.
Your mom has been awesome.
Yeah.
It's almost hilarious that you're 30, right?
Yeah.
And I'll be 30 in a couple weeks. And our biggest proponent right now is your mother.
Yeah.
I love it. It's great.
She's like, I love you, Kath. On almost everything that we
No, I know, it's great. Like, was it last week or week before, you had posted something about one of our episodes, like in the best episode we've done yet, blah, blah, blah. And really, I think the only comment for a while was your mom like, great job, boys, so proud of you, love you.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Yeah. Ginger Martin, my girlfriend. And we'd also like to shout out again to Schmomo News. You can find them on Facebook. One of our friends as well. And Nerdy Women.
Just nerdy women everywhere.
Also, yeah, nerdy women everywhere.
I thank all you nerdy women out there.
Oh, yeah. But no, you can find them on Facebook as well. And as far as I know, they're still working on their website. So that should be good.
Aren't they working on a podcast too? Getting one up?
No, that was for something different.
Okay.
And Cody
Never
Jones.
mind.
Cody Jones, who has given us some reviews on Stitcher, and he was also on our show last week. So
yeah.
There's a double entendre there. No, it wasn't.
That's not even remotely a double entendre.
He commented on our Ninja Turtles episode and said that sex is like pizza. Sometimes it's really, really good sex, but at its worst, it's still pizza. Pizza equals sex.
Did he put that part too?
Yeah.
Pizza equals sex?
Yeah, as an afterthought. So.
Yeah, Cody got...
He got some rave reviews.
Some of the best reviews.
Yeah.
Better reviews than we've ever gotten, which was great. And I say that mostly in jest. I don't want it to sound like there's any sort of, and by me saying, I don't want it to sound like it totally sounds more like it.
Well, you dig yourself in a hole often, so...
I really do. So, I'm just waving up from my hole. But no, he did a really good job. And if you haven't, for some reason, listened to last week's episode, I would recommend listening to it.
Yeah, definitely.
I think we all did a really good job. I was really impressed that you had pages and pages of notes and didn't just read all of them. I think it's definitely worth listening to, and Cody did a really good job.
I agree.
We also, at the end of this episode, we talked last week on depression about our friend Joseph who took his life. We put one of his songs at the end of last week's episode. What I'm planning on doing is 3 more episodes, this included, of putting one of his songs at the end of this episode. We'll again link on Facebook to his music page to check it out. Okay.
And if you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to hear yourself mentioned on air, you can reach us on Twitter at Dueling Ogres. Email us at duelingogres@gmail.com or leave a comment on the podcast page or Facebook. Also, be sure to give us a 5-star review on iTunes if you listen through there, and a thumbs up or a comment on Stitcher. That helps to boost us higher on the Cool Kids list.
We have such a presence everywhere now. It's crazy.
I know, we're everywhere. So until next week, Ogres, keep your clubs blunt and your tusks sharp. Good night.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Everybody else has moved out long ago. switches 'cause he doesn't know. Gotta keep busy or the seeds of doubt will grow. It's hard for the preacher, it's a long, hard road to hoe. God is in his heaven, the devil is down below. The future is the present, tradition is a big red glove. Give it to the people, bus is gonna leave, let's go. We're off to see the wizard, welcome to the Jesus show. Watch him fly in the shortest verse. Watch him cry, see him walk on the water and watch him talk, but don't listen. You might just start to treat those sinners like friends. You know a cross that's metal is a cross that never bends. 1, 2, 3, 4. Preaching to an empty choir about preaching to the lost. He's a little bit torn between an iron and a wooden cross. But he could be more loving, but they gotta know who's the boss. You know he never understood that a headstone gathers moss. Watch him try to make believe he'll never die. See him judge. Good intention never budge, but don't listen, or you might just start to treat your friends like sinners. The preacher, the preacher, the preacher, the preacher is determined to preach you his sermon, to reach you, to teach you. The preacher to reach you, to teach you. The preacher to reach you, to teach you. The preacher. Everybody else has moved out long.
Yeah, these DDoSing attacks, I don't think they really serve a purpose other than words are hard. Words are always hard. Why do I always do this?
I don't know. Well, at least you do a podcast
Yeah.
where you just talk.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I totally forgot. We're working through an advertiser now.
Right.
We're going through Game Breaker Media.
Right.
What? Just skip that. I'll add it in. I totally forgot. I would have mentioned it earlier.
I mean, I can just do an ad later. And
Yeah, if you want to do that at the beginning, because I
Okay.
had totally forgotten about that.
okay, fine. Yeah, we'll do that
Oops.
instead. So I'll just cut it after me saying Cool Kids
Yeah,
List.
we're gonna leave all this in though, right?
Yeah.
Just for people to listen to.
I'll put it in. I'll put it at the end.
I fucked up. I done fucked up.
You done fucked up. We didn't talk about our ads, and now we ain't never gonna make no money. Damn. Shit.